peace and prayer and just calm and song.
We're just going to start with something nice and easy. Shabbat Shalom. Letting out the stress of the week, welcoming in a little bit of sanctuary. Shabbat Shalom. 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 It grows dark. I light 2 candles and drink a sip of wine, and the world changes for one day, if I let it. There will be music and friendship and food, if I allow it. There will be Torah and wisdom and goodness, if I permit it. There will be quiet and napping and deep rest, if I open up to it. There will be study and expansion and new ideas, if I consent to it. There will be prayer and blessings and meditation if I give in to it. There will be hope and renewal and clarity if I walk toward it. If I let it, if I allow it, if I permit it, if I open up to it, the world changes for one day. Shabbat happens if I let it. We're going to welcome in the spirit of Shabbat with Lecha Dodi and Shalom Aleichem, both about opening up our spirits, and just making space. Not letting ourselves get too overwhelmed by our thoughts of all the things that we have to do during the week, but just making space for Shabbat, for some holy rest. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, likrat kala, v'nei Shabbat, nekabla, nekabla. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Hayom. Mi Melech Malachei HaMachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
So now at this point in our service, Rabbi Molly is going to pull out the Shabbat candles and the wine and our challah, and we're going to do this sort of team effort since we can't be next to each other lighting and blessing and eating and drinking. We're going to kind of tag team this. So she's going to do the lighting and the eating and drinking, or the drinking and eating. Let's do this in the right order. But then I'm going to be doing the blessing. So if you have your Shabbat candles and you're with your loved ones right now, go ahead and grab those, and your symbol of joy, your wine, and your symbol of abundance of sustenance, your challah, and we'll do the blessings together. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. Brightness reminds us of generations of Israel who have kindled light, so that we, in our own day, may be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav metzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. And we are going to do our blessing over our wine and our challah. I stupidly forgot to save the slides from last week. So we're going to test your memory. If you know the words, please sing with us. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ava uvratzon inchilanu Zikaron lemase v'reshit, ki hu yom techila lemikrai kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim. Ki vanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim. Ve'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. L'chaim. And finally, our motzi over our challah. I don't think we had challah at the temple, but Nestor, he's psychic, and he knew we would need one today. So, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon. Tev on everyone. I hope you have a beautiful Shabbat meal laid out before you, and that you will pray with us and enjoy a little bit of sustenance at the same time. So now we are going to move towards our Baruch, our call to worship, and we go into this with some really deep kavanah, some really deep intention around prayer. And I had like this amazing conversation with somebody this morning, one of our students who is seeking conversion, about the nature and the essence of Jewish prayer. And so much of it is not just a meditative practice, but really a call to our own moral compass and our consciousness, our conscience, to be God's partner in building creation. And so as we go through our tefillah tonight, I want you to think about not only how you partner with God in building the world, but how you partner with God in the holy gift of rest and renewal. God gave God's self Shabbat. And so how can you be a partner with God in building this holy palace in time that we call Shabbat? So please join us as we sing our Baruch Hu.
Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Borei yom v'layla, kolelu mipnei choshev, kolelu mipnei choshev, v'choshev mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. Let me go go straight from Ma'ariv Aravim into Ahavat Olam, expressing gratitude for God's abundant love for us. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Torah u'mitzvot, hukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Akein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbenu, kumeinu nasiach b'chukacha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem hayenu, ve'orech yameinu, u'v'hem neheke yomam v'layla, neheke yomam v'layla. Ve'ahavatcha tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol lavavcha v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinamtam levanecha v'dibarta bam B'shivtecha b'beitecha uv'lechacha v'derech u'shochbaha u'kumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Adonai Elohim Emet. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. As our sun begins to set, and as we start to prepare ourselves for sleep, for the ultimate rest, just shutting everything down, we realize that just because we stop doesn't mean the world does. And so tonight, when we say our Hashkivenu, let's just sort of acknowledge and recognize that as we move into our day of Shabbat and our day of rest, there are other people who are moving out of it, and that they are entering their secular week, their work week, and they need a little bit of that Shabbat peace to go into the week with them. And they also need comfort, they need safety, they need security. And so as we prepare ourselves tonight to get some good, solid rest, we also think of all of those who are just awaking and hoping that they had a safe evening for themselves.
Hashkifenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom Hamidenu Shomreinu Shomreinu L'Chaim Frosalenu going to move now into the Amidah, starting all together with the first line, which comes from a psalm asking God to literally to open up our lips so that our mouth can declare God's praise. But I think that a lot of the psalms, I think, were written by people who had a lot of the same struggles that we have today, and a lot of the same pain, a lot of the same joys, and really touch on different life experiences. And so I think that this line from the psalm is acknowledging that sometimes it is not easy to pray, and sometimes it doesn't come naturally, and can't always force it. And that is the beauty of why we have that tension of set liturgy and space to pray whatever is in our heart, because sometimes it's helpful to have set liturgy when you just can't really think freely about what your heart is really saying. Sometimes you need that little push to open yourself up. And it's easier for other people than others, and it's easier at certain times than other times. And so we start with this line together as a way of just communally asking God to help us find that space to open up our hearts. And then we'll continue silently with some prayer, whatever's on your mind tonight. Open my eyes to truth, open my hands to give freely, open my lips to good words, to pure words, open my heart to love, open my eyes to truth, open my hands to give freely, open my lips to good words, to pure words, open my heart to love. Adonai svatitita, fiyaki tehilataka. Open my lips to good words, to pure words, open my heart to love. Adonai svatitita, fiyaki tehilataka. Open my lips to good words, to pure words, open my heart to love. We come out of our private individual prayer to join together in prayer for peace. So no matter what's on your mind, I'm sure that we can all agree that we can use some shalom. We can use a little more wholeness, a little more peace in our world right now. Oh, say shalom. Oh, say shalom. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Oh, say shalom, be Rama. Oh, say shalom, be Rama. Hooyah say shalom. Hooyah say shalom. Hooyah say shalom. Aleinu. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down.
When we pray for healing, we pray not just for the physical wholeness, the physical healing of an individual, but also the strength and the fortitude of those individuals, the resiliency of those individuals to be able to endure illness, for us as their loved ones, to be able to support them in that illness and that struggle, and also for all of the people who care for them, all of our first responders, all of our nurses, our doctors, everyone that is a part of that care and that healing. And now more than ever, we need to pray for those healthcare workers, that they're able to see to the needs of all of us, and that they need a sense of wholeness and healing as well. So tonight, when we say our Mishaberach for our community members, let's also say Mishaberach for the people who care for them as well, for their healers. So this evening, we're going to pray for the healing and the care of Valentina Derchovsky, Azrael Early, Tara Landry, Rohan Early, Myra Masig, Patricia Shapiro, Orly Sherman, Amy Thornton, Deborah Newman-Zisk-Castingay, Lindsay Robinson, Laura Armstrong, John Levy, Stacy Hetzel, Diane Turner, Michael Sirkinpool, Jacqueline Tara-Smith, Kalina Suzawa, Deborah Rose, Sid Rubin, Ken Slotnick, Liliana Oxsmith, Hans Wheel, Sylvia Brown, Phil Grinker, Bill Marmion, Jeffrey Finn, Benjamin Dominitz, Bobby Morgenstern, Sheldon Morgenstern, Terry Callett, Pam Shane Johnson, and Catherine Alfred. If there are other names of loved ones of individuals, feel free to say their names out loud, and we'll sing Mishaberach, our prayer for healing, all together.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones be Refuah Shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
So I want you to think of a time in your life when you were asked to do something that you really didn't want to do. A time in your life when you were forced to do something that was really hard or really difficult. And I want you to think of your feelings, your reactions in that moment when you realized that you weren't really given a choice. I know for many of you, it's painful to not feel like you're in control, to not feel like you have any personal aegis, to not feel like you have choices. All of us right now are in a situation where things are kind of being decided for us. I'm going to tell you tonight something that many of you probably already know or have suspected, which is we have made the decision, and it's really not even up to us anymore. We've been talking about it for quite a while, what to do exactly about the high holidays. And as many of you have probably already guessed, we are going to have to do our high holidays remotely. I want you to know that this discussion has been going on for quite a while of what we do and how we do it and the impact it will have on our community. We don't want to do it. I know Rabbi Molly and I haven't sat in our office going, yay, we get the high holidays all to ourselves this year. That has definitely not been the conversation. Instead, it's been really thoughtful. It's involved a lot of debate and a lot of really creative thinking on the behalf of our board of trustees, on behalf of Rabbi Molly and myself, Josh Niehaus, our artist in residence. And it's really difficult. It's really difficult to think of what the high holidays will be this year in this completely different format. And so tonight, rather than a sermon, I just want to have kind of a frank discussion with you all about what the high holidays are going to look like. And I say discussion because I realize in this format, you can't tell me how you're feeling, but you are invited. You are welcomed. In fact, in some ways, I am even commanding you to give us your feedback on how we proceed in the next few weeks as we prepare for our High Holy Days. And this is a sacred task that we are going to embark on as a community. I want you to know that there is absolutely no piece of this that is easy. There is not a single piece of this that is simple. Rabbi Molly and I decided today to both lead tefillah tonight from the temple, and we were confronted by a million different technical issues. So first of all, I want to, we'll circle back around to what our game was when we started, which is who's live in the sanctuary and who is somewhere else in the building. And the answer is, I am somewhere else in the building right now. And the power of technology makes it look as if Rabbi Molly and I are together. But we are safely socially distanced by well more than 6 feet. And we are still able to pray together. We are still able to have the backdrop of our beautiful sanctuary, which, as you notice already, Nestor is starting to open it up for our high holiday configuration. So you will be with us in our sacred spiritual home. You will be praying with us. You will be with your loved ones. The only difference is that you get to do it all in your comfy pants. And you get to be at home, and you will have the liturgy up on the screen. As you noticed tonight, we figured out a way so that you can see us a little bit bigger alongside the Siddur. You're welcome, Donna Blankenship. And I think that we actually have some really interesting opportunities this year. So for those of you who were with Rabbi Molly and myself for Sukkot, we did some really fun learning together. And that was before we had figured out many of these tricks with doing virtual learning and Zoom. And now people are starting to get more comfortable. So we are going to do some cool stuff. We are going to have some virtual gatherings with our young families. Like we did last year. We're going to do our supper song and stories, but this year maybe, we all make a meal together in our own homes, make pizza. And while it's baking in the oven, we sing songs and tell a story for Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur while you guys are waiting to eat whatever you've made. For our services, we're thinking of ways to make it a little bit more dynamic, make the music beautiful. We want to make sure it's not like listening to raspy, speakers on your laptop. It's going to sound beautiful. We are thinking of different ways to bring you in as our TBT family to do some teaching, because obviously Rabbi Molly and I are teachers of Torah. We are rabbis, but at the same time, you all have your own Torah to teach. So we are asking you to think of something that you would like to teach during the high holidays. And we're going to have opportunities for spiritual electives, just like we did last Yom Kippur. We might have it both Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, depending on how many people are interested in leading a session. Irene Pasternak last year led some physical movement, Feldenkrais, for our congregants. If there's somebody who would like to teach a session on yoga, if there's somebody who would like to do a cooking class, preferably on Rosh Hashanah, not Yom Kippur, if there's somebody who would like to do something around racial justice, if there is somebody who would like to do creative writing, really the world is your oyster. So we're inviting you to really think broadly about the ways you want to engage in your community and have some fun learning, some meaningful prayer, some beautiful music. We might even bring in guest speakers that we would never be able to bring in if we were doing the high holidays in person. So I really want you to think of this not as a loss. I know some people will be completely bereft not to have their normal high holiday rituals, but I want you to think of this as an opportunity to experiment and maybe start some new rituals and find a way to connect to your community even while we can't be together. We are going to make it possible, like we've been sharing our screen with our Siddur, with our prayer book for Shabbat. We also have that for the high holidays. So you can access it right there on your screen. You don't need anything in front of you if you don't wish to, but we are also going to open up our library, our temple library. So if you want to borrow a copy of Mishkan HaNefesh, both for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, you can come by. We're going to set up a way for you to come and pick up a temple or a machzor from the temple with zero contact so that we keep you safe. There are lots of different ways that we can really make these high holidays special and meaningful for you and your family without compromising our most important Jewish value, which is the preservation of life. So I know this isn't easy, and many of us could not have imagined a few months ago when we had to cancel our temple fundraiser for Purim that we would also be looking at this same scenario for the high holidays. But here we are, and we might be here for a while. And I just want to find a way for us to enter into this space together and connected, and still with the same sense of joy and community togetherness that we would have if we were meeting in person. So that is my ask of you. We are going to be sending out a temple-wide email this next week with this information. We'll also be sending it to your mailboxes, not your email boxes, but your literal mailboxes, for those who don't normally connect virtually. We will also be sending you a high holiday packet like you get every year, with much of the same information that you would need for the Chagim, but instead over the internet. How to use Zoom if you're still not quite comfortable with this format, how to get to us on the temple, on the slowly being redesigned new temple website. We will work with you to make this special, to make this a meaningful holiday. And what we ask is that you step up and tell us how you would like to contribute to our holidays. If you would like to be a virtual greeter, somebody who helps us maintain the sanctity and the security of our Zoom rooms when we're teaching classes, or to orient somebody via chat about what to do or what to expect from a particular session, or even during services themselves. We're going to need people with some of those tech skills and people skills to do those digital or virtual ushers and greeters. We're going to need people who sign up to lead classes. We want, folks to think of different creative ways that they can be involved. So my ask of you is what you are willing to bring to these holidays, so that as we come into your home, you are our sort of partner in creating this new and hopefully sacred ritual. So a few other announcements that I just wanted to make. We are still continuing with our Kaddish project. You will be contacted by our very own Larissa Babik here at Temple B'nai Torah. She's making emails and phone calls to try to update some information from you all so that we can be connected easier. We need cell phones. We need home phones. We need email addresses. And we need physical addresses, because we're going to start sending you guys little gifts throughout the year so that you can help celebrate Shabbat with your family or holidays. So she's going to be updating that. She's going to be asking you for information about your loved ones who are on the Kaddish list. And we are also going to be looking for other ways to connect with you regularly. So please be on the lookout for that. And Rabbi Molly and I and our artist in residence, Josh Niehaus, filmed this past Wednesday our very first episode of Renovating Rabbis. So we hope to have that out soon after it's edited. But for those of you who've expressed interest in being sort of on a crew for us as we do some of these renovations, starting with Josh Niehaus's house and then moving on to Rabbi Molly's house, please be in contact with either myself or Rabbi Molly, because we want to keep them small crews so that there aren't too many people in one space. And of course, we're going to make sure that we try to maintain social distance, and people will need to wear masks and all of that good stuff. But we would love a cohort of folks who have skills already and want to share them, and people who are wanting to learn new skills because maybe they want to do some of these renovations around their own home or be trained up so that maybe we can do it for other folks who are in need, either with our Hearts and Hammers interfaith program or maybe our own Temple B'nai Torah program, where we would help our seniors who need some home renovation and can't do it on their own. So be looking for that. And Rabbi Molly, do you have any additional announcements that you can think of?
Goodness, no. Maybe just that we are also excited to think differently about religious school this year, which will start virtually for sure. And our religious school registration will be coming out in the next few weeks. So looking forward to getting that started, and you'll be getting more information soon.
Yeah, and there's also exciting news about religious school fees being heavily reduced from what they've been in the past. So if you haven't already seen it, we are reducing our fees to $500 per child. And if you have additional children, it's $250 for any additional child, which if you've paid for religious school before at TBT, you know that is an amazing new change that we've made thanks to our board of trustees who really wanted to make religious school more affordable for our families and our kiddos. So, all right, well, we are going to then go back to our Siddur and finish our Shabbat worship together. Thank you for joining us all tonight. We are, here we go, maybe. Nope. There we go. All right, so join us in our Aleinu, if you're able to, please rise. Rabbi Molly is the only one who's able to actually open the ark. That's why we had to spoil it.
I thought that would have been the big reveal.
It is a big reveal.
It's here. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'teit gedula l'yotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu kamishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'goralinu kechol hamonam. Va'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu v'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz Bayom hahu, Yeh Adonai Echad, Ushamo Echad.
Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. On this Shabbat evening, we remember the most recent loss of Muriel Leventhal, close family friend of Karen Rosenberg, and also Daniel Koffer, cousin of Earl Hirsch. We also commemorate the yahrzeits, the anniversary of the deaths of Adele Berman, Florence Cohan, Esther Sirkin Cohen, Jack Dominitz, Stuart Dougason, Donald Arthur Friedman, Francis R. Goldner, Ernest Goldstein, Ellen Hogan, Ivan Kirshner, Tricia Mason, Carl S. Miller, Rose Nemens, Sally Pohl, Elise Patashnik, Marion Prasow, Mayor Roderick, Michael Spruill, and Leonard H. Tall. there's other names that you are thinking of tonight, we ask that you please keep them in your hearts as we say together in ancient words, our Kaddish Yatom. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah. Be'alma divrach yortei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Israel. Ba'gala uvizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei de Kudasha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush bechata v'nechamata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabbah min Shamaya. V'chaim alenu ve'al kol Israel. V'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mormav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Israel. V'imru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen.
When Rabbi Sidney and I were talking earlier today, this song came to mind. This was written by Peter Rowan, and it's another goodie that I learned from Dan Nichols. The more you follow the orders from our governor, the more isolating it can feel. And I imagine that all of us, in some ways, feel like we're on our own mountain right now. And I thought of this song because there are things I think I understand about it, but then there are also parts of it that I'm not quite sure if I really understand it. But to me, the piece where it says, I'm calling you, this idea is just like a vivid image in my mind. If each of us we are isolated, we're home, we're on our own mountain. And yet you can just sort of visualize this idea of people calling out from mountain to mountain. And that is what the High Holy Days are going to be all about for us, is about connecting with each other. And even if we're not connecting in person and we don't get to have all the hugs and the kisses that we love, we're still calling out to each other, and we will have connections, and they'll be different than they were in the past, but different isn't always bad. Rabbi Sidney was saying not to think about it as a loss. And I think it is okay to acknowledge that it is a loss, because there are things that are going to be lost, and that doesn't have to stop us from having meaningful connections with each other, with ourselves, with God, with our rituals and traditions. So this song is hopefully not too hard to pick up. I'm going to start with the I'm calling you. 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 Goes like this. We all live on our own mountain so high. We all live on our own mountain so high. From my mountain to your mountain to my mountain so high. From my mountain to your mountain to my mountain so high. I'm calling you. I'm calling you. I'm calling you. I'm calling you. I'm calling you.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat
Um,
shalom.
Thank you, Rabbi Molly, for being downstairs while I am upstairs and doing this. I just wanted to kind of acknowledge really quickly, like, this is hard. This is incredibly hard to figure out how to do this and do it safely. And any of you techies out there, I know we have a lot of them. If you want to help us with some of this tech as we go forward, please, please call us. Just today, like figuring out this green screen behind me, figuring out our microphone issues so that we didn't have feedback being in the same building, figuring out how to make sure our internet signal is strong, which in this building is not an easy thing. None of this is simple. And I hope we kind of made it look seamless. I don't think we did, but we're figuring it out. Help us, please. Please help us. We want to wish you all a very wonderful Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for being with us, and take these 25 hours to rest, to unplug, and meet us back here next week. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.